3, 2, 1. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Real Estate Social Rockstar Show. This is a show where you will learn tips and tricks to help you grow your real estate business. Today, we have something really special, a question we're going to be answering. The question that I have that many agents always ask is, how can I stay in touch with my past clients on a weekly basis? You know, it's hard to call everybody all the time. What can I do? What do we talk about? How do you handle this situation? It's a difficult question many people have a hard time doing, but I came across a fantastic solution. I didn't come up with the solution. I just found someone that found the solution. And that amazing person who has joined us on the show is Shannon Milligan, a realtor, the CEO of the RVA Home Team. Shannon, thank you so much for joining us on this Real Estate Social Rockstar Show.
Thanks for having me. I'm super excited.
I am very, very excited. To give everybody a little bit more background on Shannon, Shannon is a rock star real estate agent. She has a growing team. It's actually recently been even growing even more, so her business is flourishing. Shannon is very active on a variety of channels. She's big in Snapchat. She does a lot of videos. She's done some amazing real estate videos. The amazing thing that I'm going to want to ask and talk to her about today is specifically how she every week gets her past clients together and people that want to tune in and have a party, a digital party. And what do you call that party, Shannon?
Facebook Live. So it's Wind Down Wednesday, every Wednesday, 7 p.m. on Facebook Live.
Wind Down Wednesday. So I want to tell a couple of things because I've been telling some people to tune into this and if not, to watch this later on the replay, or if you're watching this on a podcast. I want to tell you from personal experience, I've joined some of Shannon's Wind Down Wednesdays, and it's honestly, it doesn't matter whether you're in the real estate industry or not. It's a fun place to hang out. I really feel like I go to a party. You're sitting there with a bottle and a glass of wine, and you do so many things. So let me ask you, can you give a little bit of a further introduction about yourself, about your team, about your business, and how you got to this point of hosting a digital party?
Sure. So I've been licensed for about 6 years. Prior to that, I was a marketing manager, I guess, a manager of a mega team up in Northern Virginia. And when I moved to Richmond, it was time to go out on my own. But the interesting thing about being on that team is she taught me blogging. So when I moved to Richmond and I had no clients, I thought, well, I'll just blog. And I started blogging in like 2011. 2012, I kind of dabbled in, selling. I sold 3 houses, 3. 2013, I sold 30. And a lot of that was from blogging. And I sell about $8 million a year. Our average price point here in Richmond, Virginia is about $250, $260. So that averages about 30 to 35 homes a year. And I just added my first lead buyer agent to my team. So we are growing rapidly. And I have a transaction coordinator and I have a part-time marketing assistant. But it led me to Facebook Live because I started with the blogging, and you have to meet people where they are, and it's going to video.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because I met you through video. Maybe it's through, Snapchat, or, we run in some of the similar circles. And if it wasn't for video, we wouldn't have met. And, I wouldn't have had the opportunity to be inspired by you and what you do. So it's really great. You're obviously getting out there. For people that are tuning in, I highly advise you not only tune into Wind Down Wednesdays, which we'll talk about soon, but also Shannon recently did a video that was so great. Can you just, I know it's not the point of the show, but can you tell people where they can watch this real estate video and what you did? Because I really liked it.
Sure. Well, they can find it on either Facebook on my page, or they can go to www.thervahometeam.com because it's on my front page there. And it's been really cool. Matter of fact, I watched one of your shows and one of your guests reached out to me. They're going to show it at their conference in 2 weeks. Like, that's fantastic.
Huge. Yeah.
It's fun.
Yeah. That's really, really fantastic. Awesome. Well, congratulations on the growth of your team. So what I'd like to do in our short time together is, number one, ask you a few questions about how people can host a digital party. So now number of questions, how people can do it, how people can plan for it, and some of the things that maybe you've learned, maybe some things that went wrong or just that you learned while you're on the way. And of course, if anybody has any questions while we're talking, please feel free to ask away. And I'm sure Shannon and I will be happy to discuss it. And for those of you that are listening afterwards, hopefully you'll just get to hear some great questions and answers. So Shannon, let's start with, where did you even get this idea of Wine It Down Wednesdays? How did you start?
So we have locally something called Wine Down Wednesday at a local wine parlor. And I'm a mom. My twins are going to be 10 this week. And it's really difficult for me to go there, 7 o'clock at night till 10 o'clock at night on a Wednesday. So I was watching a guy that you know as well, Justin Lindsay. He does a coffee chat every day.
Mm-hmm,
and I thought, I really need to get on this Facebook Live thing, but what can I do that's me? And I thought, well, I can't go to Wine Down Wednesday, but I can sit in my PJs at home and do one. And it was born.
It's a lot of fun. And you talk a lot about a lot of great stuff. I was watching your show last night, which was deep. And, I actually was thinking about the topics that you discussed on your show throughout the day today. So just so people know a little bit more about Wine It Down Wednesdays, Shannon is a rockstar real estate agent, and I know that she obsesses over giving her clients just the best experience that they can have buying and selling a home. But when you watch your show, she's not talking, about real estate. Maybe you do a little bit, but tell a little bit about, what do you talk about at your show? I could tell people, but they should watch it. But tell us a little bit about what you talk about on your show.
So I always have an agenda, just so you know, like I write out bullet points just so I'm not going in blind. But I start with 2 hot topics. So I find what's trending for the week. And last night it was Justin Bieber was trending. So we talked about him. And then the Democratic chairman lady, whoever that had to resign. So we talked about her. And then after I talk about that, I have the format of we play a game, because people want to be interested. And then after that, what I find the most fulfilling is we always celebrate your wins. So the audience, the people that are joining me, we celebrate your wins from the past week so that we have positivity going through all the time.
So one of the things when I was watching last night and listening in was that number one, it seemed to me that I was coming into a party. There was stuff going on, and you put some music on, and you're drinking, and it's just, I was like, wow, this is so much fun. But it does seem like you have somewhat of a schedule or something. I mean, it seems like you're kind of just going on a whim, but I imagine you must have some format. How do you just turn on the screen and do you just talk? Like, how do you plan for a digital party?
Okay, so I literally do just turn it on and talk, but I do go by my bullet points. I don't write out what I'm going to say, because I think people would know that and it wouldn't be organic, just like I'm talking to you. But I do have bullet points here of things that I want to go over and the way we're going to discuss it. So I think about, what would interest people for the day. And, I'm sure we're going to get into this more, but one thing that goes through my mind is it's not about me. I'm the only one on that screen though. So that's really hard to make it not about you when it's you on there. But I really try to come up with things that will interest other people and draw them in.
Yeah. So I that's something that I myself was asking myself before I watched your show. I've seen your show a few times. But I tuned in last night, full disclosure. I tuned in last night and I wanted to try to really get how do you run your show? Because I want to ask you questions about it. I want to dissect it a little bit, right? And my first thought when I was about to watch your show was, it's just going to be her the whole time. How, isn't that going to get boring or something? Or how's that going to work? And I felt very much involved. So you're asking questions all the time. You're always looking for feedback. I felt like, my screen could go on and you could be seeing me and it would have been just the same almost show as if, even though you couldn't see me.
it's interesting because it's a little phenomenon to me, a little bit. Like, it's kind of like, I can't believe I consistently get on the low end 500 views. On the high end, I think I've had up to 1,500. But I think it's on myself, and I drink, I play music, I play a game to keep you involved, and I know when the topic, I'm self-aware enough to know when to get off it. Like, when it's crickets on there, you have to know, you have to be able to bob and weave a little bit and just move on. And so, yeah, but I do drink, and people for some reason find that funny.
Well, I think that there's a lot of great stuff you do. And actually, I want to take a little bit of a step back, because before I ask you about the game that you have on your show, which is everyone's going to want to know what this game is. And we talk, about what kind of hot topics that you have going on. I want to talk a little bit about why you do it. And I want to talk about why I think it is a brilliant idea. I'm jealous I didn't come up with it. It's a brilliant idea, and I mean that in the best possible way. It's such a great idea. I think it's such a great idea because people are always wondering, how can I stay in touch with my past clients? And I really liked last night, you said something on your show that gave me additional respect for you. You said that you even yourself struggle to sometimes reach out to your past clients and see how they're doing and just make those calls. You were talking about that last night, right?
Yes, and that's one of the reasons I do this, because, listen, I feel I give exceptional service, and I know I do. And I have a really hard time calling my past clients to ask for referrals, and they should be willing to give them to me because I've done a great job for them. But I've got this drunk monkey that I just can't get off my shoulder. So one of the ways, to connect with my past clients was let them see me. And you saw me last night. My hair wasn't done. I had it in a bun. I don't even think I was dressed up. I don't know what I was wearing. I might have been in my PJs. And I just let it all hang out. Well, and that's why I do it, though, is it's twofold, right? I do it to connect with them, but I also do it. I make my videos public because I want people that might be researching me or have heard about me but aren't sure. You do business with people you know, like, and trust. And I find that when I'm myself on Facebook and I do that, people are beginning to know me, they're beginning to like me, and they're definitely beginning to trust me because I'm just being honest and real, and people can read through that. So that's why I do it twofold, to stay in touch with people. Because what's funny, when I did my very first Facebook Live show, about an hour afterwards, I got a message from somebody that needed to sell their house. She's friends with tons of other agents. She probably would have forgotten that I did it had I not done that show.
That's great. Yeah, that's why I think it's so incredible. And I don't know how to emphasize this point. I wish I could put something on screen or get I need a little sound thing going on to emphasize this point. I just want everybody for a second to think about what their business would be like if once a week they did something consistently where people would have the opportunity to plug in and experience them. The cool thing, like last night, I experienced a lot of things with you. Number one, I got to tell that you're smart and you're sharp, and you know a lot of pop culture trivia. You know a lot of stuff. And then you also went deep and emotional, and you started talking about, not to get, too morbid and deep into it, but, start talking about, when you pass away, how you want people to handle that. And and you had all these people started talking about this really delicate topic. And I don't know, you brought a little bit of love of life within me by talking about this topic, because you were talking about people celebrating your life. You were giving kudos to your husband. He sounds like an awesome guy. You were just being real, and I would 110% want to work with you if I was looking to buy or sell my home, because you're cool, you're smart, you'd be fun to talk with, you're down to earth, you're straight up. Why would I work with anyone else?
It's funny about the death thing. I wasn't intending to go there. I was talking about the Mexican holiday of the Day of the Dead. Yeah. But that's the thing for a good Facebook Live. I think you have to be willing to go there if it just kind of naturally goes there. And to that point, of course, somebody's not going to be on guard with giving me their finances because I've talked about their death. Like, we got real with each other. So you have to be able to bob and weave. But I'm glad you picked up on that. I didn't even mean for that all to come out, but I just go with the flow.
Yeah, maybe you didn't mean for it to come out, but the fact that you allowed it to come out is the message I want the viewers and the listeners to get from this is, if Shannon's going online talking about death, right? And it was fun. Don't get me wrong. This was not a sad thing. This was talking about, you need to watch the show, but you do. But the whole point is that she was just being her. And my advice to real estate agents out there is, if you have any past clients or you have any friends, okay? If you have any friends, that means people like you. And if you give people the opportunity to experience you on a consistent basis, then people will get to know you. And Shannon, I mean, I would venture to say not everybody that you know logs into your show every single week, but probably different weeks, different times, people have the opportunity to catch you. And that's why consistency is so important.
Super important, because one week I forgot that I had the show. I forgot it was Wednesday and my alarm went off and I was not dressed. I hadn't done anything, but I went on anyway because you teach people how you are. And I want to teach that I am dependable. Now, I wasn't on last week because I was away, but I set somebody up to take over for me. But I went on that night that I forgot because I need to, if I'm going to say that I'm like this, then I need to be like that.
Yeah. So let me ask you 3 things that real estate agents, I'm going to ask you a question, if that's okay.
Sure.
3 things that real estate agents, or really anybody that wants to do this kind of digital party, 3 things they might want to keep in mind when planning or executing a weekly digital party.
Well, so one, you do want to be consistent. You do want to set that time and stick to it, because I'll tell you, when I was away last week, I had people messaging me, telling me that they missed me, that they actually pull up a chair and get their wine and they're ready for me on Wednesday nights. So you need to be consistent. You need to pick out a time that you know you can do it. So that's one thing. I think the other thing is, you have to remember, it's not about you. It's about balance. And, again, I'm the only one on the screen. You have to pepper things in. And remember, pepper goes a long way. Like, it'll make you sneeze and choke if you have too much pepper. So you have to pepper things in and keep it, a two-way conversation. And the other thing I would say is, you just have to be yourself. I said you have to know, like, and trust. I drink, I laugh, I get really personal, and I think I'm relatable to people in that way. You just have to be yourself and not be afraid to do it. Like, just do it. I have people that keep saying, "Oh, I plan on doing it." Then do it. You're not planning. You're not doing it. Just do it.
Yeah, that is a really good piece of advice. Can I ask you on the flip side, have you had any anything that's happened that it didn't work to plan, or certain mistakes or that you may have learned from, that people that might be thinking about starting to do this weekly digital party, that they might want to learn from a bottleneck you experienced?
So I guess the biggest thing is you do want to keep that balance between business and personal. So something I haven't shared with you yet, but I almost get too personal. Like, I don't want anybody to think I'm a lush. Like, I don't want them to think I'm a drunk. And sometimes I do pepper in real estate, and people don't even realize I'm doing real estate because it's in that game portion. But I am going to start a Tip Tuesday where I'm going to go live, but only for 5 minutes, and I'm going to share one real estate tip. But I'm kind of glad it took me about a month or so to realize that, because the Wind Down Wednesday, they're getting to know me. And now that they know me and they like me and they trust me, I can go on for 5 minutes once a week and give a little tip, and I'm not going to alienate them. But I don't know if that was a mistake, but it's something to keep in mind. Don't drink too much. Have some and be fun, but you have to be careful. Other things is trying to find a quiet room. not always going to happen. My husband was away a couple weeks ago and I had to do it. My cat's running into the table, my dog's going. So you just have to find a quiet space. So I guess those are the biggest things to look out for if you're going to do it, but really be careful of that balance, because you don't want to be too personal either. Like you don't want all the dirty laundry out there.
Yeah, that is a good piece of advice. But the interesting thing is, it definitely seems to me like you err to the side of being personal, and I know that, and I'm hearing what you're saying, the advice you're giving. I think probably for most people, they're afraid to be personal, and I think that what's interesting is, yes, you're having a glass of wine, but first of all, you're not having scotch. You're not having hard liquor. It's a glass of rum. You're rum. Okay.
I do rum.
Oops. Oh well.
So good.
But still, like, you're obviously not a drunk.
Yeah.
And the things that came across in the show, where you were coming from a place of abundance. You were talking about how your husband supports you. You were talking about your clients. You were talking about a new buyer agent that you're so thrilled to bring on. You mentioned things like how you are really focused on customer service and attention, and it's more than the money for you. And when you tell me that you bring in real estate a little bit in the game portion, which is what I want to talk about in a second. One thing that I remember from the show last night, and it's not really a show, guys, it's a party. The one thing I remember from the party last night was you were talking about Justin Bieber, and you were talking about how the camera is always on him, and maybe you should give the kid a break sometimes. And you said something like, you have a long day, you're out there all the time, you always have to be on, and just making it relatable to you. I envisioned you in your day, busy, out there, working, professional. You're so exhausted from your long day that you need a glass of wine. That's what I want my real estate agent to be, a hardworking professional, put it all. So I definitely, that's because you're real. If you're not a good person and you don't have any friends and nobody likes you, then don't do a party. Nobody wants to come to that one.
Exactly.
But you shouldn't be in real estate either. But
true that.
But most people watching the show and most people on this planet, at least that I interact with, are very, very good people, and if anything, they're fearful to share that goodness that they have. So let's jump to the second portion. Tell us a little bit about the you have a game you do. Is that correct?
Yes. So every week I come up with a new game, and mind you, I don't know if you can tell, but I do a lot of research for the game. Like, I put a lot of thought into what my clients and what my friends, and by the way, side note, a lot of my competitors are on there and agents from across the country, but that's okay, because either one, they'll learn to refer to me because they like me, or if it's a direct competitor, we sometimes refer to each other, throughout here. I don't take this deal, I don't take that deal. So just solidifying those relationships. But with the game, I work really hard. So I come up with, there's two reasons.
Well, sorry, I can interrupt you for 1 second. Yeah. Can we throw up the game and take a quick look?
Yeah, please.
All right, let's do it. Let's throw up the game.
Yes. Okay, so now we're getting ready to play a true or false game. This is to test your market statistics a little bit, all right? So get ready to put number 1, T or F, number 2, T or F. There's gonna be 5 questions, and you have to number 1, T or F, 2, T or F, because I gotta go through all these and figure it out. Today, you are going to get this customized wine opener because it's Wine Down Wednesday, and it's branded with RVA Home Team. Look at the shiny silver, and you can pop that top. I'm assuming that's for beer. I don't know, I don't drink beer. Got a little knife. I was gonna take this on a plane until I realized it had a knife, so I think I need to mail these ahead. And you've got the little wine thing here, but pretty cool, right? So this is what you're going to win. Or you can choose a t-shirt. It is up to you. So winner will be announced later tonight. I will message you. Ready? Here we go. True or false? A balanced real estate market is inventory of 8 months or more. Go ahead, put in your answers.
Shannon, thank you for sharing that with us. That was fun. So tell us a little bit, give us a little bit of background on this game here.
Okay, so I do the game for two reasons. And one is engage, like I want to engage the audience. I want to give them a reason to stay on. But the other reason is engagement, right? Like the more comments I get, I know Facebook is going to push me up. Like it's a twofold thing, and it's a perfect marriage. And basically I find 5 questions and I have people put number 1, then the answer, number 2, the answer. Now think about that. If I have 20 people, I consistently usually have about 20 people at least. If I all have them putting in number 1 and an answer, number 2 an answer, and I do that 5 times, 20 times 5, you know, I'm getting a lot of comments on there. I think last night I had over 150, but it really just, it engages the audience, and it gives you the engagement. And then I always have a prize. So in that video you saw, I give out, I thought I brought one with me in here, but I give out personalized wine openers that I have made that say RVA Home Team on them. Everybody wants to win a prize and everybody always picks that. But think about that too. That is purposeful. So when that person wins that, they get it, it's branded, and it reminds them to tune back in the next Wednesday to play the game.
Shannon, sorry to interrupt you here, but a few people are commenting right now.
Oh,
no. And aside from everybody saying that, you know, you're awesome and they love your show, and it just shows how much you're getting engagement. You know, I have Jacqueline over here saying that I absolutely love the episode recently when Shannon forgot all about her episode and clearly jumped in and made it last minute. She made sure to tell her audience that commitment and consistency is key. She committed to Wednesday at that time and she made sure she did it. So people see that you taught a lesson from your I don't know, whatever happened that day. So that's great.
What does that tell a client? That tells a client I'm human, but I'm going to stick to what I say.
Yeah. Well, I think it's fantastic. So people always ask, you do all this stuff on social media, does it get you any business? And I believe you said a few moments ago that you got, somebody called you looking to buy a home after like your first show, right?
Correct. And I also get it like via Snapchat, and, you know, I get messages. I did a listing appointment from Snapchat. I have a new buyer that came from Snapchat. I didn't even know she was following me. But it's also the long game. You know, it will pay off. But what you don't realize that you can't measure the ROI on branding right now, right? Like, and goodwill. But yeah, I would say social media, I mean, I get a ton of business that way. I just do. Last year, I probably had at least 8 listings that came directly through Facebook messages. Like, hey, I need you to list my house. They have my number. They can find my email. They can go to my website, but they're messaging me on Snapchat and Facebook. Again, you got to meet people where they are.
Yeah, no, that's definitely fantastic. For me, you know, I'm a broker owner, so most of my time is spent coaching and recruiting, and I find that most of my conversation with real estate agents these days, they're all on social media. You know, that's where the conversations are. I mean, it's annoying to email someone back and forth. You know, if you want to have a conversation, and usually I'm trying to find out where a bottleneck someone has in their business and try to offer some, some advice or some guidance. And that's what it is for me. I'm not really, saying, do you want to come work for me? I never asked that question. It's just offering advice. And social media is like, it's the most comfortable place to have it. It's just like, let's sit down in the living room and have a little conversation. So it's fantastic. Do you invite people to your Wine It Down Wednesday? How do you let people know about it? Tell us a little bit about that.
So it's really important, and this was a mistake I made in the beginning, but I've gotten better about it. You do need to advertise it ahead of time. And put it with a picture, right? Most people are going to go over your post if you don't have a picture. So I go on like image flip, and I pick something that I think looks funny, and I just post it, and I put Wine Down Wednesday, 7 p.m., join me, whatever. I've had Poltergeist picture. I've had the drunk lady picture. I've had Betty White with a wine glass picture. I had Tila Tequila last night for that, but I put it out the night before just to remind people that tomorrow's Wednesday, because they might forget to. And it's really important to teach them. I also invite people on Snapchat. I am amazed at how much of my Snapchat community comes over and joins me on there. At least in the very beginning, they were a lot. They gave me a lot of support. And you have to make sure you invite people to that. And I also have it in my Facebook, like in your bio. I have that there now, you know, Wednesday, Wind Down Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern. That way, if somebody's going to my page, they can see it. But it's very important to remind people and to advertise ahead of time.
Do you, when you get a new lead, you find a new client, you meet someone at an open house, however it is that you lead generate, and you find new people, do you immediately connect with them on Facebook? Do you send them an invite to your show? Do you have any plans for that?
No, I don't. And here's why. If they friend me, of course I will friend them back. But I will not friend them until we're done with the deal. There are too many things that can go wrong in a deal, and we're not quite there. But there's something about when you hand somebody the keys, you know, like the World Series, right? At the end, everybody came together. But in the middle of that, everybody's just like tense, right? So I wait purposefully. And so I won't friend them until we're done with the deal. But then it's all, you know, then I'll link in them. I will Facebook them, and then they'll get that invite through Facebook. But I do try to keep it a little bit separated until the deal is done. Kenny Rogers. So no one to hold them, no one to fold them.
Cool. Shannon, first of all, thank you so much for all this advice. And I highly advise people that are listening to this to not only come and tune in and participate and just have a really good time on your Winding Down Wednesdays and on your Tuesday tips that are going to be coming up. I'm looking forward to that as well. But if people want to reach out to you, what's the best way for them to reach you?
Well, they can hit me up on Facebook. It's Shannon Milligan. I have a business page, which is RVA Home Team. My Snapchat is RVA Home Team. My Twitter is RVA Home Team, although I don't like Twitter all that much. It's a little noisy for me. And hit me up on any of those. It's really easy. My email is shannon@rvahometeam.com. I'm really great at the email, and he's putting me on Snapchat right now. The other thing, I just want to add one more thing before I forget. Listen, you need to teach people too. You know, there are moments in there, and Michael, you're really great at that. I love watching your snappications. So when you're doing your Facebook Live, it's okay to pepper in a little teachable moment. Like when I did my game a couple weeks ago, I printed out pictures of different houses, styles, and people didn't even realize, but I was educating them on what they like and what they don't like. So it's okay to go ahead and teach. And I just taught you how to get a hold of me. So get a hold of me. I'm happy to help anything I can. And the other thing is too, reciprocation. I'm happy to support you. If you're going to start a show, let me know. I want to come support you. And I think that's the way to go.
That's great. You know, I'm glad that you said that, because I was just about to say something and you just proved it true. When I look for people to bring on this show, and there's an endless number of people I can bring on the show. I look specifically for people who come from a place of contribution, who come from a place like exactly what you just said, where I didn't even have to ask you, Shannon, are you okay with like helping people out? You're telling people to let you know about a show they're starting so that you can support them. And I think that's fantastic. And, you know, that's very much what I believe in. And I know that's what, you know, Meier Real Estate's all based on is agents helping one another. And I know your team is exactly the same way. So thank you so much for honoring us by being on the show and sharing your advice. And you know, just keep rocking it, keep doing what you're doing. It's effective. And thank you so much for sharing this with everybody.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. If anybody wants to reach out to me, my name is Michael Meier. I'm the broker owner of Meier Real Estate. You can find me on Snapchat at Michael Meier NYC. You can find me on Facebook, same thing, Michael Meier NYC. Thanks, Shannon. Bye, everybody.
Thank you.